All right, first, let's make one thing clear. It was a really good fight between Beterbiev and Bivol, but it was not a robbery. I gotta stop throwing that word around so loosely, man. You're making it lose its value. Again, it's a difference between a close competitive fight and a blatant robbery. Like, stop screaming that. I mean, um, I showed a couple days ago the live scorecard when I did it when I was watching the fight, and I scored it 115, 113 for Beterbiev. Now, I would have been okay with a draw too because, I had one of those rounds being a swing round. A few of them were actually swing rounds, but one of them in particular, I can't remember what it was. I had to go back and look, but one in particular, I put an asterisk next to it because I was like, it could have went either way. It was that close of a round. But anyway, again, Beterbiev didn't do anything different. He came exactly how I expected him to. He's not going to change. That's him. But the thing that made the difference in the fight to me was Bivol. He was too inconsistent, man. I feel like he could have won that fight had he actually fought more and not been like fighting the spots and pockets like that. You have to understand, like, even if Beterbiev wasn't landing a lot of those shots he was throwing, he still was getting credit for throwing the shots, period, when Bivol wasn't throwing punches. It was a lot of times where there was lulls in the action because of him, because he would just sit there with his hands up like this, being defensive, catching anything on the gloves or whatever, but you're not even looking like you're trying to counter him or you're trying to find a shot. You just look like you're being defensive the whole time. You're not going to win a fight like that. You know what I mean? Defense wins football games. You know what I'm saying? Not boxing. You got to throw punches too. You got to do both. But yeah, man, I feel like if he would have actually fought more and taken more chances instead of what I call it, playing it safe, just being on defense like that, letting him throw shots so that he won't get caught or countered in the middle or nothing, I definitely think he would have won this fight, man. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, he wasn't getting hit. It doesn't matter. If he goes for 25 seconds and he's throwing punches and stuff and then he relaxes for the next minute and a half and doesn't throw anything, just goes on defense, he's likely going to lose that round. That's just how it works. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand what the scoring criteria is for professional boxing before you can start saying, like, this is this and this is that. You know what I'm saying? Defense is a part of the criteria, and so is effective aggressiveness. But you can't be so defensive that you're not looking for offense either. And that's what happened. That was his downfall, man, in my opinion. I had it, they were just like going back and forth, round after round, going back and forth. But the difference maker was the last 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he let up off the gas in the last 3 rounds, when those are the rounds he needed the most because so many of the earlier rounds were close. Those are the rounds he needed the most, man, and he let him go. I don't know if his corner was telling him, you know what I mean, he had it in the bag or what, but a fight that close, you gotta get on the gas, man. You gotta try to do something to separate yourself in order to be able to get them rounds as close like that. And I feel like he didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? It was a good, real good fight, man. It was competitive. I mean, from a pugilist perspective, I can appreciate it. I loved it. But I can see other people who, are just casual fans looking at it like a boring fight and not being entertained by it. So I feel like it was a fair decision. It's not a robbery just because your favorite fighter or the person you bet on didn't win. Close competitive fights can't be a robbery. The rounds could have been judged either way. A lot of those rounds, neither one of them were definitively winning the round. You know what I'm saying? One would be winning one part, the other would be winning the other part. So you got to understand that. But yeah, that's my take on Bivol. Do I want to see a rematch? Honestly, no. Not necessarily. Again, like I said, I can appreciate it from a pugilist perspective. I can understand what I was watching, but I wasn't like super entertained by it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that in the rematch, Beterbiev stops him. Because in the rematch, he's going to realize he has to throw more punches, which makes him more vulnerable. And, he's going to get caught at some point and possibly put down. But he did do a good job of, turning Beterbiev and moving and not letting him get his feet set so he can get big, hard shots off on him. I think 1 or 2 journals got through like that, but for the most part, he only got touched with the low pop shots from Beterbiev. It's better that than to get stopped, I guess he was feeling, right? Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think, man.